Before I get to the video, I just want to say it feels good to be back for another season. For those of you tuning into my channel for the very first time, I am Johnny Talk Sports. For those of you that only tune in during the football season and don't tune in year-round, welcome back. It's great to see you again, and I cannot wait to enjoy another college football season with you all. And I am ready to get to the Week 0 predictions. When I was looking at the slate for Week 0, a few months ago, I've been looking forward to this moment ever since. Despite this being week 0, and week 0 isn't exactly the most exciting week in the college football season, with the exception of 2019, I think with this week 0 slate, I think there's a potential with this slate of games. I think at least 3, maybe 4 games this week, I think have the potential of full-on entertainment from start to finish. And every single week, I am going to once again predict the best 7 games, at least what I feel like are the best 7 games of the week. So let's begin with Nevada and New Mexico State. I anticipate a brand new look for this Nevada offense this 2022 season. Not only is quarterback Carson Strong gone, but so are the top 6 pass catchers from the 2021 season. So I think Nevada is going to be heavily reliant on the running game, not only in this game, but throughout the entire season. And this is a perfect tune-up game for Nevada, as Mexico State has been slated as one of the worst teams in college football. So I'm going to pick the Wolfpack to win this game. And for those of you that are into the spreads and the lines, Nevada at this moment that I'm recording this video, a 9-point favorite. I'd say Nevada to cover is a pretty safe pick this week, as the least amount of points I see Nevada winning by is 17. So I say at least a 2.5 touchdown win for the Wolfpack in this one. Next, UConn and Utah State. For UConn, first game for new head coach Jim Mora. And they go on the road to take on Utah State, a team that had a very positive end to the season by winning their bowl game against Oregon State in, I believe it was called the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. So Utah State, they right now are a 27.5-point favorite. And I anticipate Utah State to win this game pretty easily. But if you're somebody that is into these spreads and into the lines, I feel like this game could potentially be a little dangerous. Because this could be the kind of game where you could lose on a backdoor cover. Because Utah State, they may be the better team on paper, better offensive line, the more experienced offensive line, better quarterback play, better all-around play. But Utah State, they go on the road to take on Alabama in week 1. So not only could they potentially be looking forward to that game, but if they're up by about 31 points early in the fourth quarter, I anticipate them taking all their starters out. And with a new head coach such as Jim Mora and taking over a program like UConn, you need to look for some positives. So I think UConn, if they go down 31 points in the fourth quarter, I think they're going to keep some of their starters in to try to build some positive momentum for later on in the season, to give them something to look forward to. So Utah State wins the game easily, but as far as the spread and the line, I personally would not touch that, because that has the potential for a backdoor cover. Next, Charlotte and Florida Atlantic. And this game kind of feels pretty simple to me. I'm going to pick Florida Atlantic, and I do think that they cover that 7.5-point spread. I don't know much about Charlotte, but I do know a little bit about Florida Atlantic. And to tell you the truth, it's good enough for me to pick them to win this game. So I will go with the Owls in this one, and to cover that 7.5 point spread, as I think they win by at least 10 to 13 points at the bare minimum. Next, we have what I could, believe it or not, see this as being the most exciting game of the day. Despite the games that I have coming up later to predict, I think this one has the potential of having a thrilling finish. Because both of these teams, they are fairly even with each other in my opinion. In fact, it's an even line right now, so this is basically a pick'em. North Texas last year, they started off the season 1-6, but they went on a tear to end the season by winning their final 5 regular season games to make it to a bowl game. So despite losing that bowl game, they had some momentum. Well, they have some momentum from last season to build off of. But UTEP, I think they're going to win this game. I think they're they're more experienced team in this matchup. And the thing that is not the best as far as predicting matchups early on in the year is they don't have much to go off of. The most you can go off of is based off of last year, and I think last year I just think UTEP just did more for me last season than North Texas did. So I will go with UTEP in this matchup. Moving on now to Vanderbilt and Hawaii. And to say that Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lea made a really strong statement at SEC Media Days can easily be described as an understatement. Talking about how it's only a matter of time until Vanderbilt is at the top in the SEC conference, which is some pretty strong words to describe a program that I can't personally remember the last time they went above 500. But at the same time, I do like the attitude and the mentality that Clark Lea is expressing. And this week 0 matchup against Hawaii, this is going to be a perfect opportunity to show what this Vanderbilt team is made of, as all eyes are going to be on this game as far as the super fans of college football that are going to watch week 0 because it's college football. So all eyes will be on them, as this is the final game of week 0. And for Hawaii legend Timmy Chang takes over the program, and quarterback from last year, Javon Cordero, transferred to San Diego State. So now it's Braden Shager's turn to take over as the starting quarterback. And Hawaii, they have produced some pretty underrated and underappreciated quarterbacks throughout the last 20-25 years. But I just feel like with Vanderbilt, the SEC, despite them being the bottom feeder of the SEC conference, you just got to remember, just because they're a bottom feeder does not mean that they don't stand a chance against some of these group of 5 schools. Because they're the bottom feeders of the strongest conference in college football, at least arguably. But personally, a lot of people think SEC is stronger than the Big Ten, or vice versa. But arguably, the bottom feeder of the strongest conference in college football. So I think Vanderbilt wins this game. But I am interested to see how Hawaii's offense looks, because Hawaii over the years, they have produced some pretty good offenses. But I am picking the Commodores to win this one. And the line is 6.5. I probably wouldn't touch this one myself, but I'd say Vanderbilt covers that 6.5 because I think they win by at least 1 touchdown. Next, we have Wyoming and Illinois for the Fighting Illini. Year 2 under head coach Brett Bielema, but there are a lot of unknowns. For starters, the starting quarterback is unknown. Illinois just finished their fall camp yesterday, and we don't have any indication on who the starting quarterback will be. Will it be Tommy DeVito, the Syracuse transfer, or will it be Arthur Sikowski, who last year against Nebraska stepped up in relief of Brandon Peters, who exited the game early on with a shoulder injury, and he went 12 for 15 for 124 yards and threw for 2 touchdown passes. I honestly would lean more towards Tommy DeVito being the starting quarterback for the Illini. Because Tommy DeVito, I think he's the better quarterback of the two as far as athleticism is concerned. Arthur Sikowski, to me, is more of a game manager type quarterback, and this is a game that Illinois, they can't win it based off of game management. Because if Wyoming is running the football really well, then this could and possibly will be a long afternoon for the Fighting Illini. And Craig Bull is one of the most underrated and underappreciated head coaches in all of college football. Now, I think Illinois wins this game, but I don't think they cover the 10-point spread. So, for those of you that like to pick based off of spreads, Illinois at -10 is what the line is. I think Illinois wins, but I don't think they cover. I think Wyoming keeps this close from start to finish. If Wyoming's running the football well, they're going to be in this game from start to finish, and they'll make it a single-digit game. In fact, I think it's only going to be maybe a 4 to 7 point win for the Illini. We wrap things up with Nebraska and Northwestern in Dublin, Ireland. For Nebraska, Scott Frost comes into the season on the hot seat. In fact, I imagine AD Trev Alberts had a very stern but motivating conversation with Scott Frost about how 2022 has to be the season where things finally start to turn around for this program, or you're gone. And what did Scott Frost and Nebraska do in the offseason? They went aggressive in the transfer portal, and they went all in on hiring assistants. And 2 assistants that stick out to everyone. Offensive coordinator Mark Whipple, the former Pittsburgh offensive coordinator who was responsible for one of the best offenses in all of college football last season. Wide receivers coach Mickey Joseph, who has produced NFL talent such as Odell Beckham Jr., Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. And the good news for Nebraska, starting off their season, when it is a prove-it year for head coach Scott Frost. They take on a Northwestern team they dismantled 56-14 last season in what I feel like was the best game in the Scott Frost era as far as playing clean football, not making costly mistakes, not taking stupid penalties. That felt like the best game of the Scott Frost era. In fact, that was their best game of the season in 2021. For Northwestern, it is unknown who their starting quarterback will be. Will it be Ryan Helinski or Hunter Johnson? Nebraska officially named Casey Thompson, the Texas transfer, their starting quarterback this season. And I'm interested to see how many points Nebraska will win this game by, because right now they are sitting at a 13-point favorite. The line has shifted quite a bit during the offseason. In fact, I believe last week it went down to 12 points, and now it's back up to 13 points. I suspect that it's possibly going to be a 14.5-point line by game time on Saturday. So, will we get to see a lot of the backups for Nebraska in this game? Because they should dismantle Northwestern again. In fact, the only positive thing that you can say about Northwestern right now is offensive tackle Peter Skoronsky, who could potentially be the top offensive tackle taken in April's NFL draft. So I think Nebraska blows out Northwestern, but I don't think the game is going to start off the way that a lot of Nebraska fans want. I think it's going to start off slow. I think it's going to be maybe 17-10 at halftime, but then Nebraska will pull away in the second half. And a big disadvantage Nebraska had in their season opener last year is they didn't know what to expect out of new head coach Brett Bielema. But Northwestern, they have that same disadvantage that Nebraska had last season. Northwestern doesn't know what kind of offense Nebraska is going to produce with Mark Whipple calling plays. So, all in all, Nebraska, I think they start off slow, but I think they dominate this matchup. And that will do it for my Week 0 college football predictions. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, have a wonderful day, wonderful evening, whenever you have me watching.